America. I'm Erick Erickson. These are the 4 things you need to know today, December 2nd, before you get home. Juan Orlando Hernández flooded the United States with cocaine for a decade. He was complicit in the deaths of a massive number of Americans and others globally as he pushed cocaine, other narcotics, and guns around the world for his allies. He worked with narco-terrorists globally, particularly in Central America, to expand a regime that made him a lot of money and killed a lot of Americans. He's now free today because President Donald Trump has pardoned Juan Orlando Hernández, the former president of Honduras. It makes absolutely no sense why he pardoned this man. It appears to be an influence operation for Honduran elections. It makes no sense to do it as the president ramps up efforts against Maduro in Venezuela, claiming he's a leader of a cartel of narco-terrorists. Hernández predated Maduro and, if anything, inspired Maduro. And yet today, the man who has a lot of American blood on his hands for the drugs and guns that he trafficked around the world is free, thanks to Donald Trump. And we have no idea why it happened. In fact, it was Donald Trump's first administration that led to the prosecution of Hernández. It's just baffling. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth said he did not know about survivors on that boat and did not see them. He was asked at a cabinet meeting today, said he didn't see them. He wanted the ship sunk. That appears to be where this thing is headed as Congress ramps up questions both on the House and Senate side. A number of Republicans demanding answers and inquiry. They want to talk to members of the military who were involved. They'll do so behind closed doors. The White House circling the wagons around Hegseth here, and this echoes what 5 officials said anonymously to the New York Times, that Hegseth wasn't actually involved in the second strike. It was an admiral in charge of the SEALs who did it, and he did it to sink the ship, arguing that if the ship continued to float, other narco-terrorists could have taken the ship back, recovered the cargo. They wanted the cargo sunk. Relatedly, President Trump is saying he wants an escalation in the sinking of the boats in the Caribbean and the Pacific that he says are being used by narco-terrorists to funnel drugs into the United States and kill American citizens. Pete Hegseth echoing the president today, saying this is going to happen. We'll see more bombings. If anything, the president seems inspired by the Democrats' fury on it as they want to own the left and make heads explode as they blow up ships in the Caribbean. There are a lot of people, you should understand, on the left and the right who say the president can't do this, and you should at least understand the argument. I'm not one of them. I'm fine with him blowing up narco-terrorists. I think it's interesting the Democrats are taking the side of the narco-terrorists, but at least understand the argument, and it is this. Because Congress has made narco-trafficking a crime, and what President Trump is saying the narco-terrorists are doing meets the definition, the president cannot now declare them enemy combatants because they're criminals under federal law and must be arrested and prosecuted instead of blown up. I think as commander-in-chief, he can blow them up. But you should know it actually is a very credible argument. Even if you don't like it, it's a credible argument that all the president has done has taken narco-trafficking and said this is terrorism, when federal law has already defined it as a crime, not an act of terrorism. It's a valid argument, even if you or I disagree, and it's going to be debated for a while. Lastly, federal authorities have announced they intend to do targeted immigration enforcement in Minnesota. Surprise! They're going to focus on Somali immigrants. The president today in the cabinet said a lot of things about Somali immigrants, none of them very good. And in fact, one of the things that has to be grappled with is Somali immigrants, both in the South in areas like Houston and in Minnesota, they are not really interested in assimilation. Some are, but the default is to not assimilate into American society, but to remain distinctive while also benefiting from the American social safety net and our welfare regime. In fact, there's a growing pattern within the Somali immigrant community to abuse the welfare benefits, knowing that the white woke progressives in charge aren't going to say anything lest they be accused of racism, which God forbid they're ever accused of. They just like to accuse other people of it. It's consuming American resources. It's consuming a lot of taxpayer resources, and a lot of that money is being funneled back to Somalia, in some cases, to funnel and support terrorism. So the president announcing a crackdown in Minnesota, this entire story has enraged Minnesotans across the political spectrum. Good luck to Tim Walz if he tries to defy the president and ICE as they come in looking for illegal immigrants from Somalia and others to be deported back to Somalia. By the way, separately, there is an ongoing federal investigation into the Somali grift and abuse of the welfare rolls in Minnesota. They're continuing to say more indictments are coming, so stay tuned for that. These are the 4 things you need to know this afternoon. I'm Erick Erickson. Please stay informed, stay engaged, and above all else, please keep the faith.